Hello and welcome back to round 3, back 9 coverage of the Memorial Championships. We want to give a huge shout out to GK Pro as well as Discraft and the Disc Golf Pro Tour for bringing us this amazing FPO footage. And all week, make sure you like, subscribe, and just follow us around.
Yeah, feel free to shoot us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think as we watch Paige Pierce continue with a commanding lead over the rest of the field. Jennifer Allen hanging tight in second place. Henna just behind her. And I know when we last looked at the leaderboard, Rebecca was hanging out with a bunch of ladies looking at a tie for fourth. This back nine is challenging. There are some water holes, and we can see anything really happen out here. But one thing's for sure is there is a lot more birdies left to get.
Absolutely, yeah. Hole 10 is a par 4, 651 feet. There is a Mando on the left here that we're passing by that you have to navigate right of. And it's also a pretty low ceiling, so you need to throw something pretty far and to get a lot of distance off the tee, but you also have to manage your angles and manage your height as well. You're trying to get right into the middle here, right about here if you can, and then you have sort of like a turnover, still really long shot to the basket. I think a lot of women are okay with a 4 on this, but there certainly are a birdie opportunity on this hole as well.
Yeah, it's two really far shots, and it's so hard to throw like that linear shot off the tee to the right of that Mando because it is so narrow and so low ceiling. So it's like a tight wooded shot, but you want to get it out there skipping so you do have a more open approach to the basket, which is on a slanted green where rollaways do come into play.
Henna doing a great job managing her height, getting a full distance shot.
That was such a perfect angle on this hole. That was amazing. She'll have pretty much a straight approach next to which she could probably throw a putter or a mid on. Paige getting over on it as well, working the trees on the right-hand side perfectly. She'll be tucked a little bit more right than she wanted. It was probably looking for a little bit of a skip, but we know she can manage those left to right fading shots pretty effectively. Jen has a little bit of the same problem she had earlier, gets the nose down on these low ceiling shots, seems to maybe get in her head a little bit. But she rolls out to the middle of the fairway, and she'll be able to get way down there on her next shot.
Nice looking shot from Rebecca. That was her halo. Just like we were saying, she got great height on it, got a little skip to the left, and she should have a pretty open but still long shot to the basket.
Yeah, I like the hyzer on this tee instead of flexing something we saw Henna and Paige do. I like the hyzer because it opens up your second shot a lot wider, where you don't have to hug these trees like we see Jennifer forced to do on her second shot. Wow.
That was great.
That was a pump.
That was a race. She just fully committed to that.
Man, that was a really beautiful turn on that disc. That was amazing. Rebecca gets to throw another hyzer. Doesn't quite get over on it as much as she wants.
Looks like she tickled some branches too, slowed her down a bit.
She'll be outside circle too. But at an uphill putt, so she can definitely safely run this. Henna throwing a mid.
Yeah, that was a rock 3.
Oh, doesn't quite give it the height it needs. Grabs onto that grass. Is that a banger?
It is.
Thought I saw the thumb track. Gets a nice little stable finish. She'll be right outside circle 1.
You have a little bit of a backstop on this type of putt, so it feels comfortable to run. Again, I guess you don't see the flag too much, but when I was playing this hole a few holes before, it definitely had a headwind.
Oh yeah, it was windy when I played it as well. Really windy.
Yeah.
And it gives it a good solid bid. Comes up a little short. Paige looking for birdie as well. Comes up a little long. Takes a knee to get down to the same height as the basket and saves her par. This hole averaged at almost a half a stroke above par. It's a tough hole to get to get a 3 on, but I'm surprised that more of the ladies aren't having no problems with their 4s. But I did see a couple rollaways out there. It can be brutal on these slanty greens.
Jen had no problem with that birdie 3.
Nice par for Rebecca. This is the part of the course where we turn around and head back towards Tournament Central. Hole 11 is a par 4, back-to-back par 4s way out in the corner of the course. There's out of bounds on the left and right-hand side. The fairway slopes downhill from right to left the entire way, making hyzers a little bit daunting. There's a couple mando trees as we move our way down the fairway to keep us in the fairway and off of the pedestrian path. The basket is on a sloping green as well, and the fairway definitely pinches as you get down towards the basket, making it a little narrower and a little scary. All in all, this is a pretty wide open fairway. There's no trees in the middle of the fairway that you have to work around. Everything's pretty wide open, allowing you to really pump something out there off the tee. As long as the disc angle, she's flirting.
Yeah.
I know that disc was coming in hot.
That got way down there.
That got way down there.
I'm thinking a lot of us are landing right about where the mando tree is, so the mando tree doesn't really come into play for many of us, but it might.
Evelina getting the full flight at the disc.
Henna.
I mean, geez. Gosh.
Paige is just putting a mid-range out there, just trying to stay safe, not biting off too much. Just trying to do 2 simple shots in a row. I say simple, but, you know, they do have some technical aspects to them, especially with that sloping green.
Yeah, it almost seems like Paige kind of just decided to lay up
It
more
did,
than anything.
yeah.
Rebecca puts too much hyzer on it. Looks like it's going to get some big skips, but stays in bounds.
Yeah, so actually that's one of the shots that she might contend with the mando tree a little bit, but it should just be a hyzer right around it. But she still has to control that angle because she can't come in with too much hyzer. Great that she went well above the basket. Come on.
Goodness. Catches those rocks that are outside of the out-of-bounds line on the right-hand side and gets some unfortunate kicks. Oh my goodness. I thought that was going in. She's just outside the circle, but we've been watching her putt all day. She's confident right now on the green.
This is definitely a softer par 4 for us. We're all looking to birdie this hole. It feels like it's far, but it's also just 2 pretty straightforward shots to get yourself to the green.
Yeah, it's only 540 feet, so you can easily break that up into 2 under 300-foot shots. Rebecca with the downhill putt to save par. GK slow.
Nice.
Paige with a long putt for birdie. Finds the bottom of the cage.
Bangarang.
Bangarang, FPO. Henna with a tap and birdie.
As well as Jen. Hole 12 is a par 3, 282 feet. It does play uphill over this sort of dam-like looking feature here. You're carrying water for the entire flight. and you're just looking to put something out there, maybe on a little hyzer and get a slight skip to the basket. Again, just fully committed, and then you have an elevated basket that you have to contend with as well.
All of that gunite that makes up the dam is out of bounds. You have to land on the grass. I think we'll see a lot of these FPO lead card players throwing mid-ranges or maybe even putters. Jen trusting the hyzer.
Yep, she's going rock 3.
She'll be inside the circle.
What do you think she's throwing here?
I'm gonna go with a P2.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her pull it out that much this round.
She's trusting it to just to stay straight.
Ooh. Gets a favorable kick back into bounds. I guess we are all throwing distance drivers on almost every hole.
Yeah.
At Vista.
Paige also floating a putter up there. That's her banger, and just trusting that it'll hyzer as it does.
Love these big uphill putter hyzer shots. These are fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Rebecca going a little bit faster, relying on that skip. Does pretty nicely. Yeah, she's inside the circle.
This plate is a really awesome women's hole. 25% below, 25% above, 50% at par. Ooh, just a little too high on the elevated basket. There's a lot of them out here at Vista.
Yeah. It's like I didn't even really notice yesterday, but now I'm noticing.
Yeah, the same. I didn't notice at all. Big birdie from Rebecca. Super awesome. Get some blue on her scorecard.
Nice.
Ooh. Same thing from Jen. Love to see that. Henna hoping to make this comeback putt for par. New Pro Tour logo looking super sharp on the new lighthouses. Boom.
Nice comebacker from Henna.
She putts really hard. It seems like these elevated baskets would be scary because if you get a, like, God forbid, a monkey paw, that thing's gone.
There's like that fine line where you have to fully commit to that putt, but then, you know, if you're just a little off,
Later.
don't know.
Evelina's climbing up the leaderboard to just 3 strokes behind Henna now. Katrina just behind her, tied with Rebecca, who we get to watch the rest of the round. Callie and Jessica Weiss still working their way up as well. Hole 13 is another water carry. It's a par 3. It's 405 feet, so it's a little bit out of the range of a lot of the FPO players. The play is to go right down the gap here. You don't really want to play a hyzer because those sticky trees really can't get in the way, but there is a hyzer gap if you have a big arm. There's a mando tree to the left, this big tree with a drop zone underneath if you do miss the mando, and the water is, of course, out of bounds wrapping around behind the basket. The basket's perched right on the ledge. It's only about 10 feet.
Yeah.
10 feet from
Very
the edge.
close.
Yeah, and it's elevated. So any of these drives coming up short, it's automatically a death putt. And I think we'll see a lot of the FPO ladies having to decide whether to run at it or lay up.
Jen going destroyer. Looks like she was, she looked like she was trying to actually bite off a lot on that straight gap. She does end up hitting that tree a little bit, but falls straight into the fairway. It's fine.
A really nice kick into the center. If you hyzer your drive too much and don't get enough distance on it, that's the only time you really have to worry about that mando tree. It makes it really hard on your approach shot because you have to throw a sharp hyzer with something slower speed. Whoa. See, Paige gets way down there. Doesn't have to worry about the mando tree at all. She'll be inside the circle. Death putt. Rebecca always working those low lines.
Okay.
Mine's a little shelf.
Hey, that'll work.
Displays her disc. And keeping it super low and linear as well. It doesn't look like she's happy with it out of her hand. She'll be over on the right-hand side, which is a few more trees to deal with for your approach, but still fairly wide open.
Rebecca has some awkward footing here. She has to kind of stay right on the ledge. It looks like her disc is almost right at a meter.
She throws standstill and still gets up inside circle 2. It'll be a scary putt. I'm guessing maybe a layup.
Yeah.
Jen looking to just get a par here and move on.
Nicely done. Henna as well. Should be no problem.
Paige with the only birdie look on the card.
Scary death putt.
Nervous.
Come on.
Woo! Dead center.
You're not going to see a ton of 2s on this hole from our field.
She's actually the only one.
There you go. That is quite an incredible 2 for this hole, especially coming down this stretch. She is just trying to expand her lead.
She's got a string of birdies right now. How many birdies does she have in this round so far? Let's see here. She's got a lot.
Yeah. She started at 15 under, so that's a reference, and now she's 23 under.
Oh, okay. There we go. Math. Hot math in the morning by Missy Gannon.
I've been working on it on the road.
We could call her a numbers person. Hole 14's a par 4. 655 feet. It's super flat the whole way. There's a couple of mando trees on the left to keep you out of the fairway that's from earlier in the round. There's an out-of-bounds sidewalk all the way down the right-hand side and a flag line all the way down the left-hand side that turns into a wall, wraps around the back side of the basket as well. It's a pretty wide fairway. There's lots of room to work with, but it's another one of those holes where the trees are just in the perfect place to where it feels like a little bit more of a wooded hole when you compare it to the rest of the holes out at Vista.
Yeah, it's nice. This tee pad is, they gave us a couple of extra feet on the left side, also at a nicer angle, so you can approach that hyzer shot a little easier. I think you'll see a lot of these players doing just that.
There's a couple different options off the tee. We see Paige taking the wide hyzer route. The tee pad faces you in a kind of a weird, awkward direction right towards an out-of-bounds line, but they gave us a little bit of a wider stance on the tee pad after adding that mando tree in. So we'll see most of these ladies throwing the hyzer route. Jen doing the opposite of what I just said, working a flex line.
Wow.
Really trusting her disc to turn over, because if it does not, she's going to be flirting with the out-of-bounds line.
That was a great shot.
That was great. Lands within 15 feet of the OB line. That is some trust.
Yeah.
Henna chooses the middle gap as well. Trust her disc to flip over. Slides way on up there. Oh, flirting with the mando tree.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what kind of angle she has from that side. She may have to put a little turn on it.
I really thought I'd see more hyzers on
Me
the lead
too.
card. I'm very surprised.
Me as
I
well.
assumed wrongly.
Nice from Rebecca right in the middle. Another big pump on the second shot, and a bunch of trees to contend with. You don't want to hang it out too wide. She's splitting that gap very nicely. She'll find herself just outside, just in between circle 1 and circle 2.
It's nice to have the wall down by the basket as well. You can really trust that your disc will maybe, hit that as long as it's not a huge flare skip. Paige is not having to throw a distance drive on her second shot.
Yeah, she's going with a Raptor, probably relying on a little bit of a flare skip or just a nice hovercraft skip.
We call that a worm
to
burner in the
basket.
South.
She's right at circle's edge.
Jen doing the same thing, trying to work the same line, get the same skip.
Nicely done.
Henna stuck on repeat. It looked like a boomerang for a second.
Oh my gosh.
Gets a hold of it a little bit, puts it a little wider right than she wants. This is Rebecca for birdie.
Yes.
Ugh. Wasn't happy with it right out of her hand. She'll have an easy par, though. Rebecca's so close to capitalizing on so many birdies. Big putt from Paige. She's feeling herself today on the green, huh?
Yes. She mentioned that a couple of putts felt a little strange, some of those ones that she putted it a little high, but I would say she's doing just fine.
You can see Rebecca do a little fist pump in the background too. Awesome. Henna for birdie. Another big birdie putt. She's like, you're not going to big putt me, Paige Pierce. Here we go, Rebecca. Nice comeback of her par. Jen looking for her bird as well. Five birdies on the day in the FPO card. And we get to watch 3 of them on the lead card.
Very nice. Hole 15 is a par 4, 450 feet. Also pretty soft, and we're all looking to get this this birdie for sure. It is just a nice big hyzer off the tee. You can either choose to go super long and sort of be to the right of the trees that are on our left right now where this drone is flying through. Then you'll have a nice straight shot to the basket. Also, if you come up a little shorter, there's a ton of little straight gaps that you can approach to the basket as well. So we're going to see some big hyzers out of a lot of these ladies.
Yeah, this is a pretty sharply left turning hole. It's perfect for the big hyzer, but also perfectly fine if you don't have that shot. I really, really like this hole.
Yeah.
Also our third par 4 on the back 9. So this is where we're really adding a lot of shots in.
Absolutely.
Holy cow, look at the skips.
Wow.
She gets way down there. They made this a par 4 for the ladies, or maybe for the men too. I'm not. Oh yeah, they have a longer tee pad. Mm-hmm. We have a shorter tee pad here, and it played us the easiest hole on the course, averaging half a stroke under par. So we get to see a lot of FPO making some threes.
Nice.
And it gets big skip. She gets way down there outside circle 2.
Rebecca going a little wider with her Ballista Pro, but she's going to be in one of those shorter, nice straight gaps.
So cool, 60% of the women's field with a birdie on this hole. And it is a long, nice long hole too. So lots of cool, accurate distance drives. Mm-hmm. Rebecca puts it a little bit nose down, but it slides right on up to the pin.
Perfect.
Jen with a rare forehand approach.
Done well.
She claims she's been practicing them. Nice. I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jen all year, since Worlds last year. Mm-hmm. And she comes running up to me, and first thing she says, not hi, not hello. Matt, I've been working on my forehand. I can't wait for you to see it.
Paige opting for the jump putt gives it a bid for sure. Looks like we're going to see a bunch of birdie putts.
Yes, another birdie for Paige. She's racking them up. Looking at maybe double digits out here.
That's crazy. We were trying to figure out what the hot score would be out here, and we were thinking on a really good day, maybe like 8 or 9. Looks like Paige is on pace to do that. So we'll see how the last few holes shape up.
Nice birdie from Jen as well. Rebecca will take her par and move on.
There we go. Hole 16, par 3, 390 feet. This is a tricky hole. You can see there is a Mando on the left that we're flying by right now. It doesn't really come into play, but always adds a little element in your brain. And then the basket is slightly elevated itself, and then also elevated on a sharp, steep downslope. So I think a lot of us are trying to throw something super straight, just trying to get it as close as possible. I think that this is maybe even a little bit of a bonus birdie, being 390 feet. It plays all of that, and it's also slightly uphill.
Yeah, there's a short tee pad just in front. I'm kind of confused as to why they did not put the ladies on that tee pad.
I was too.
But on this hole, I mean, we can see Paige gets it under the basket, no problem. Really, really excellent angle control as well, because she's landing on that steep slope of a green and it still slides up perfectly.
Yeah, that was a great shot with her Zeus.
I feel like she's stoked about that as well.
Yeah. I think she knows too. This is that bonus birdie. She knows her advantage here, and I think Jen has an advantage as well.
The only thing you want to be careful here is making sure you don't land on too much of an angle, because you can easily, if you cut roll out of bounds over the sidewalk, and if you hyzer too much, easily skip over the sidewalk that pinches in towards the basket. Henna flexing a disc as well. Gets over on it a little bit, but it cut rolls and grabs on the side of the hill. This hill is so steep. I hit it on a scooter last year, and it was one of the most invigorating things of my life.
Nice angle control from Rebecca. She's going to skid right outside circle 2.
She'll have a really fun-looking uphill putt that will not be scary at all. No possibility of rolls.
Oh, my God. Lies.
Jen just pitches up. Smart play. Yeah, I was surprised to see they did elevate this basket a little bit as well. It's a little extra fun. Rebecca decides to just pitch up. I do not blame her. I think I would have done the same.
Yeah, I found myself just on the downslope with maybe only 12 to 15 feet, and it felt like 30 feet.
It does. It really does. It's so sharp. Only one birdie on the day from the FPO field. I think you guys know who that could be. It was really cool. They had a nice sized gallery out here as they came into the final holes of the event. We're loving these afternoon tee times as far as some spectatorship. We feel really awesome having you guys out there hanging out, and we really appreciate you coming out to watch.
There it is, folks.
There it is. Hole 17 is a par 3. It's an elevated tee pad, very sharply downhill towards an elevated basket on a very steeply declining green from right to left or front to back, whatever you want to call it. There's out of bounds on the sidewalk and out of bounds just beyond the basket inside the circle on that gunite storm drain. This basket is the highest one of the day, I think.
Yes.
It's so high.
Yes.
It's another one where if you're left of the basket on the downslope, it feels like you almost have to launch it up in the air overhand.
Also found myself there.
Me too. Paige is going to be finding herself there as well. It's so weird when you're close to go into the putting motion and go up towards the basket.
Yeah.
You almost have to overhand it. Jen throws a putter as well. Doesn't quite get it under the basket, but she'll be a little bit more level with the basket, which is what's nice about landing right. Henna throws her P2.
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly.
Rebecca floats one out there. I like the idea, letting the disc do the work for her. And she's inside the circle.
Yeah, that was a judge. A little bit of stability, so it's a perfect shot.
Check out that gallery. Love that. Rebecca for birdie. This is so scary.
It really is.
Ooh.
And you have the spectators in the background, which is awesome, but it just adds that little bit of thoughts in your head.
You just know if it falls down out of this basket, the chances of it catching an angle and rolling are so high. Paige makes that look very easy. You can see it's almost above her head, the top rim of the cage. Henna for birdie as well.
Yep.
What I'm most excited about this season is just to play. I was playing 40, 30 tournaments a year for 12 years, and then that came to a complete halt. The most important thing I've learned is just have a little bit more patience. With patience comes more success.
Hole 18 is a par 3, 381 feet. This was previously hole 1 last year. Now it's a really cool ending hole. I really like this change. There is an added triple mando towards the end of the fairway, right around the circle, that you kind of have to make a decision. I think a lot of us in this field are just laying up short and pitching through and walking away with our 3. There is out of bounds all the way on the right, and on the left is the water. Also, you have to carry the water for the first part of the flight. Really cool ending hole, though.
Yeah, the angle that you have to throw to get to the basket through the mando is like a really straight shot that finishes hyzer. And so for a lot of the FPO ladies, you have to throw something pretty hard to get it 381 feet on that line. And so basically you're just flirting with disaster. You're going to look at skips into the water, even if you make it through the triple mando. It's not quite worth it for us to go for it.
Yeah.
So we see Paige and Henna both throwing putters off the tee and just pitching up to the triple mando and looking at taking their 3.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because even if you're trying to lay up, if you just get a couple of weird skips, you're going to find yourself at a strange angle if you're any bit left of the mando. Rebecca's going a little higher with, it looks like a fairway driver.
She's going to give herself a super weird angle.
Yeah.
For getting up and down to the basket. That's going to be a tough one.
That might even just be a pitch up.
Mm-hmm. Jen looking to just lay up as well. Not her favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
She likes to go full power all the time. She'll be to the right of the mando, which is going to make it for a really tricky second shot as well.
Yeah, just sort of the opposite of what Rebecca's dealing with right here. It does really well, though. She actually looks like she got inside the circle. It's going to be a scary putt straight at the water.
Jen juices it a little bit, but still stays. Circle's edge, elevated basket. Henna probably just pitching up here. Really just making sure she controls her disc angle so it does not pick up and roll. Paige probably going to do the same thing.
I imagine she's well aware of the how many birdies she got on this course, which is absolutely insane.
I mean, 12 birdies in one round out here. It's pretty historical in the women's field.
Yes.
Jen wants the birdie, but she's going to be finishing off with a bogey. Par.
Rebecca going for it, you know.
Death putt.
Yeah.
I admire her for going for it. Leaves it a little low. Super cool camera angle.
Oh, nice.
Love that. Strong showing from Henna. Not as strong as she would have liked, but still out here, a bunch of pars are good. I think everyone on the card was just super stoked about Paige's round.
Honestly, yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, she's she's the best player in the world, but still, that is an amazing score on this course.
Unofficially rated 1050?
1057.
1057.
Yeah.
One of the highest rated women's rounds ever.
Yes.
A commanding lead over Jennifer Allen in second place. Henna just behind her, 4 strokes back. And that was fun to watch. We get to watch again in round 4 tomorrow at Vista del Camino, but we'll have a lead card switch with Evelina sliding into that final spot. Katrina just 3 strokes behind her. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to Discraft and GK Pro for this awesome women's coverage. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Missy Gannon.
And make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you guys again for tuning in to FPO coverage. We love having you.